because we are sick to death of spelling these words incorrectly and we want to get it right. Fahrenheit, spelt like that. Silent H. You could, in fact, no, two silent H's here and a silent E, a tricky one to spell. Fortuitous. Fortuitous. Lucky. Fortuitous. Fortuitous. The T giving us the ch sound. Fortuitous. Fortuitous. Could say that the O is silent there because it is pronounced fortuitous. Fortuitous. Fictitious. A fictitious story, right? Made up. It's not true. It's fictitious. 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 C-I-O-U-S, giving us the shus sound. Fictitious. You'll be surprised at how many of these are sticking in your head, and of course if you're writing them down too, you'll eventually get the hang of them. Freight. Freight. A freight train. Right. Why would this one be tricky? This one is tricky because you notice E-I, right? There's no C before E there, because normally I before E except after C with certain exceptions. This is one of the exceptions, and that's one of the reasons it is commonly misspelt. Freight. Right? Freight. A freight train. Right? In fact, there's a few things there you could say about the word freight, isn't it? You've got the H over there too. You certainly don't pronounce that, do you? You could say that silent. In fact, it is silent, isn't it? Freight. E-I-G-H is giving us basically, E-I-G-H is giving us the A sound there. Freight. Right, when you think about it. Right? Okay? Freight. A freight train. And you've got fulfilled down there at the bottom. I am full. I am full. I can't eat anymore. You may think, well, fulfilled would be spelt basically just with filled at the end of it. No, it's not. Just one L for the first part there. Full, filled. Right? It's not a surprise that filled is spelt with the two L's. Remember, it's giving us the I sound opposed to the I sound. Right? Okay? Think about it. Hill, two L's. Will, two L's. Mill, two L's. Bill, two L's. Rice. Right? Rice, mice, nice. Again, we'll be coming into that more in the next video. Right, so there we have it. So much for fulfilled. Let's move on to G's. Let's get a few up here. Gatto, gnarled grammar. Right, gatto. Gatto, sorry, gatto. It's not spelled, it's not pronounced gatto. Gatto? What am I talking about? Gatto, right, a chocolate gatto. Very nice indeed. Right, spelled like that. E-A-U, right, okay. Gnarled, what can you say about gnarled? Silent G. Gnarled, the dog gnarled, whatever, right, okay. Grammar, a lot of people think this is spelt grammar, a lot of people don't realise there's an R at the end of grammar. Well, there is, right? Grammar. I think they get confused because grammatical, you drop the R, right? Grammar, English grammar, is spelled like that. G-R-A-M-M-A-R, grammar. Government. Government spelled like that. G-O-V-E-R-N-M-E-N-T. But the N isn't actually silent there. A lot of people think it is. When you think about it, we've got a suffix added to the end of an infinitive verb there, haven't we? Govern. To govern. Right? To govern. Govern. So therefore, meant at the end of it. Government is a noun, obviously. The government, right, govern the country. You don't overpronounce the N there. Government. You know, you could say that you're pronouncing that word without putting too much emphasis on the N. So much so that a lot of people think that the N isn't actually in the word at all and it's just spelled government. It's not. You need the N, government, otherwise it's spelled incorrectly. Gratuitous. Gratuitous. An area we touched upon in the alphabet of words part 1 and part 2, how different letters can give you different sounds. There's a classic example there of a T giving you the ch sound, ch, ch. A bit like in differential, right? Gratuitous, 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 unnecessary, without meaning, that's what it means, gratuitous, right? Gratuitous. Try and remember them, write them down if you don't think you can, right? As I say, you'll only be tested on 10, but you don't know which 10 I'm going to test you on. Right, gratuitous, right, we're up to now. Alright, we're up to some right tricky ones now. Oh, crikey. Right, here goes. Hemorrhage. Hemorrhage. Oh, hemorrhage. What a horrible word hemorrhage is in the first place. It's not a nice word, is it? Hemorrhage. Hemorrhage, it means, it's referring to bleeding profusely. It's a horrible word, right? Bleeding, that's what it's all about. Hemorrhage, although you can use it in other things too. For example, you can say, Jack has been hemorrhaging cash of late, right? This shop is hemorrhaging money. So you could say it also means losing at a rapid rate, right? Hemorrhaging. Hemorrhaging. Yes, that's a hard word to spell. You could say the A is silent there. Hemorrhage, hemorrhage, hemorrhage. And the double R, fine, because it's hemorrhage, okay? A lot of people don't realise that there's an H that follows hemorrhage. It's, I think it's just hemorrhage, it's hemorrhage, hemorrhage. There's an H there. Right, let's take it down. Can you remember how to spell it? Okay, don't worry if you got it wrong. There it is up again. Hemorrhage, tricky word, I know. Right, write these ones down. Practice them just a few times before I put you in for your test. Hallucinations. I'm having hallucinations. It's like a dream, isn't it? You know, it's things that are going on in your head, but they're not actually real. Right? I hallucinate. Okay? Hallucinations. Hallucinations. Surprise, surprise. There we have it again. Two L's are following the vowel A, ha. It's giving us a ha sound. Hallucination. Everything else is really as you'd expect it to be. The T-I-O-N giving us the shun sound at the end. Or shin, however you want to say it. We'll be coming on to that more in the next spelling video. Today we'll have a hallucination. Hippopotamus, commonly misspelt. One of these great big enormous creatures. You don't want to argue with a hippopotamus, by the way. They're big, strong, ugly, horrible creatures, aren't they? Hippopotamus, spelt like that. Right? It's not so bad when you actually realise how it's actually pronounced. It helps you a lot here. Hippopotamus would be wrong. Hippopotamus would be right. Right? That's actually where people get mixed up there. They think it ends AS, it ends US. Hippopotamus. 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 Break these words down. Hippopotamus. Into the different syllables, and it makes them a lot easier to spell. As I say, knowing the pronunciations helps a lot. Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. Right? Hypocrisy. This one actually surprises people because it's got an S, SY ending. They think it's a CY ending. It's not. It ends SY, okay? Hypocrisy, and of course Y is giving us the S sound there, which we covered in the alphabet of words part 2. I can give us a variety of different sounds. Did I say I? Yeah, no, Y can give us a variety of different sounds, and it can take us into 4 different directions, right? Hypocrisy, right? Hieroglyphics, hieroglyphics. Ancient Greek writing, in case you're wondering. Hieroglyphics. Whew. Tricky one. Yeah, you're right. Hieroglyphics. Yeah. E silent. Right. Hiero, E silent. Really, when you think about it. Yeah, hieroglyphics. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you could get up there. Let's say, for example, it was spelled like this. Let's say there's no silent E. Right. Hierogl. You'd certainly get to there without any difficulty. I'm sure you would. Hiero. Then you think, right. What comes after that? Well, again, just like with hypocrisy, the Y is giving us the S sound, right? And PH is giving us the F sound, right? And then it's just X at the end, right? Hieroglyphics. Let's take that down. Let's practice that one just now, right? Spell that one out for me now. Okay. Yeah, I want you to write it out. Write it out, yeah. Right, okay. Have you done it? Right. Okay. It starts H-I-E-R, right? Okay. O-G-L, okay? Y-P-H-I-C-S. Hieroglyphics, I hope you got that one right. Now I'm going to move you to a black screen, and we'll, so it's, well, variety is the spice of life. A black screen, you'll still hear me talking, unfortunately. We can't have everything. And we'll go through some more words for you. And as I say, you'll be surprised at how much you have learnt already, even if you've not been writing them down. Stay with me. Okay, and there we have it. There's 3 for you there, and they look pretty tricky, don't they? Okay, incommunicado. Incommunicado. Right, incommunicado. Think about that word. Think about the word communicate. Okay, the root word there. The root word is communicate. Communicate, right? Now there we have the 2 M's there, which means that yes, that makes sense. It's giving us O instead of O, so it's not incommunicado, it's incommunicado. The only thing there that should be a bit tricky for you would be the ending, really. The ending with D-O and not 2 D's and an O, right? Because it is pronounced incommunicado and not incommunicado, which just sounds silly. Incommunicado. Try and remember that one there. Incommunicado. That means basically that you're not in communication with anybody, right? You're sort of locked away in a room and your phones are off and the doors are locked and your computer's off and everything. Inconceivable. That's a bit like unthinkable, isn't it? That would be a good synonym. A synonym. Inconceivable. Inconceivable, and there we have it there. Inconceivable. Nothing too shocking about that one there. There we have it. You see, did you notice the E after C? Yeah. In most cases, after C, it's EI and not IE. So that one there is, once you know that one there, it's quite simple. Inconceivable. The other thing, of course, is the C is giving us 2 sounds, isn't it? It's giving us the K sound and the C sound. Instantaneous. 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 It's something that happens immediately, okay? Immediately. Instantaneous, and no big shock there. Instant. Okay, that's where the word comes from. That's its root word. Instant. In an instant. Instantaneous, right? We know that it can't end O-U-S because it doesn't make any sense. Think about it. Instantaneous. Instantaneous? No, it needs some help from another vowel, and it's got it there with the E. Instantaneous. Similar to gorgeous, isn't it? Okay? Which is also spelt that way. Right, interpretation, an interpretation. Right? This is a bit like a summary, isn't it? You know, if somebody gives you something complicated to learn, they ask you for an interpretation of a document, an interpretation. It could be in another language. So let's say an essay which has been written in French, and somebody says, could you give me an interpretation of that, please? Well, that's how it's spelled anyway. Interpretation. 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 Give me an interpretation. An interpretation. Involvement. Involvement. Why is this word even here, you may ask, because it's so simple. Well, it's there because we do not drop the E. We do not drop the E from the word involve, right? Despite the fact that we have added a consonant after the letter E, involvement, and that is where the confusion, you know, is quite rife in words like involvement. That's how it's spelled, involvement. Write it down. Feel free to write all these ones down, but obviously when you're doing a test, don't look at the words, because you know that's proving nothing. Right, involvement. Involve meant at the end. Mayonnaise. Mayonnaise. You may put this on your chips or on your salad. Mayonnaise. Right? Mayonnaise. Right? No great surprise with that word there. Some people think it ends A-I-Z-E. It doesn't. It ends A-I-S-E. Right? And of course there we have it, the two N's giving us the O sound in may-on-aise. Miscellaneous. That's like something extra, something that's not vital. Right? Miscellaneous cash, for example. Cash that you put aside for general things like bus fares, and not for, I don't know, even for simple things like bars of chocolate, for example. Miscellaneous. Miscellaneous. Now, do you see the similarities between that word there and another word that we've just been discussing? Instantaneous? Yes? Miscellaneous. It needs something extra because you can't say miscellaneous, right? You can't say that. So there we have it, just like with instantaneous, there we have it, miscellaneous, there we have it, A, E before O. And what else is a bit tricky there? The silent C. Okay? Miscellaneous. Apart from that, that word isn't really overly hard to spell. Notoriety, right? You will gain great notoriety when you make videos, for example. Just, you know, a very bad example there, but there we have it. Notoriety. A tricky one. A lot of people spell it with E after the T. Nope, that's not how it's done. It's notoriety. Okay? Notoriety. Notoriety. So that's the mistake a lot of people make there. Note. They say note. They think of the word note, which is of course spelled N-O-T-E, and then they go R-I-E-T-Y and think, well, that must be right. Well, it's not. It's notoriety, right? Notoriety. Right, okay, let's put you back onto me again, if you don't mind. We now move on to the letter O, right? O. Don't forget there is a test coming up at the end there, right? There's a test. I'm sure you're going to do very well at it. Yes. Outrageous. I want you to have a go at spelling this one here without me putting it up on the wall. You see? Normally I can just go like that, and the word appears. But, you know, my magical powers, I'm making sure they're not working here because I want you to spell this word. What do you mean you've forgotten what it was? Don't worry, I'll say it again. Outrageous. Okay, well this is how it's spelled. Outrageous, okay? Outrage, that's a word in itself, right? A lot of people would spell that correctly. We have already seen from other words that the OUS is giving us the us sound, right? Okay. Do you remember erroneous, for example? Okay. So that's not too surprising. So where would people trip up in a word like that, would you say? They trip up because they think you drop the E. No, with outrageous, you don't drop the E. Right? Quite often when you're adding a suffix which is beginning with a vowel, right, when that is following a root word which is ending in a vowel, you drop you drop the last vowel from the root word. Sorry if that's a bit long-winded there. Again, we're going into that in more detail in the following video. There's only so much we can do in this one here. I mean, we're doing enough learning all these really, really hard words, aren't we? Yeah, so in this case, basically, to cut a very long story short, you don't in this one here. A lot of people think you do. You don't. Outrageous, you need to keep the E in outrageous. Orthopedic. This depends whether you live in America or whether you live, or whether you don't live in America, basically, because everybody else spells it like this, and Americans spell it like that. Okay? Orthopedic. Quite easy one to spell for Americans. Okay, it's exactly as it sounds. Orthopedic. It's an orthopedic ward in a hospital, for example. Tricky for us English, right? Orthopedic, it's given us, there's a silent A. A silent A in orthopedic. Alright, moving on to P. Poo. What am I saying? P. Paraphernalia. Always. It's like a lot of extra stuff. Quite often unnecessary stuff. Paraphernalia. Okay, it basically means stuff. Paraphernalia. 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 And again, paraphernalia. You see how learning the pronunciation of this word here actually helps you spell it. Paraphernalia. The only bit I'd expect you to trip up on there, providing you're spelling it as it is pronounced, would be the PH giving us the F sound. But remember, as I have explained before, I will explain again, PH is very, very common in long words. It replaces F, the letter F, in a lot of long words. Paraphernalia. Parliament. Why would Parliament be tricky? It's tricky because you don't pronounce the A in Parliament. You don't say it like that. You say Parliament, right? Parliament. But it is, well, it's a silent A, it's spelt Parliament, right? Spelt Parliament, right? But pronounced Parliament. Pessimistically. This here is actually an excellent example of a word spelt the way you'd expect it to be spelt. Look at the word. Pessimistically. Right? You're thinking right? Well, pes-a. It's giving us the S sound. Must have a double. It could have a double consonant following the E. Yes, indeed it does. Pes, right? Then it's remembering how this word is pronounced. It's it's getting your pronunciation correct. Pes mist Cali. Pessimistically, right? There's a lot of I's in that word, which that trips people up. Pessimistically, pessimistically. You think, well, isn't it double L at the end there, sort of, you know, why is that there? You know, shouldn't it just be, you know, end with one L? No. When you think about it, alley, you know, look at the A before L there. It's giving us that A sound, okay, with the double L. Pessimistically, it really is exactly as it is pronounced, that word, when you think about it. Let's try it again. Pessimistically. Prerequisite. It's like a condition, isn't it? What is the This is the prerequisite for the job, right? A prerequisite. Do you all know that you need a U after Q? Yeah, that's right. If you know that U follows Q in words, it helps with your spelling a lot when that letter Q comes into a word. Prerequisite, right? The E at the end is silent. And this is an example here of a word. You think, well, what's all this with double consonants following vowels? It's not doing it there. If it was, there'd be two T's at the end. Well, I did say that, you know, it's a general rule. There's a lot of words, you know, where you're still getting the A, right? O, A sound, right? Despite the fact that you haven't got two consonants following the vowel. And there's an example there, so you could say, well, you definitely could say that the E is silent at the end. Apart from that, it is really very much like you'd expect it to be spelled. Prerequisite. Penicillin. Penicillin. Spelt like that. Right? Penicillin. C, well, we already know that C gives us this sound, and there we have it, there it is there. That's where people get mixed up. They think there's an S there. There's not. It's penicillin. It's the C that's giving us the S sound. No surprise that there's two L's in it. Remember, the double L giving us changing I to E, as I've explained numerous times. But that is only a general rule. There's a lot of words where that doesn't apply. Okay, which I've already explained loads of times. Okay. Question number 4. Spell gnarled. Question number 4. Spell gnarled. gnarled. Okay? Gnarled. Gnarled. Right? Question number 5.